We'll start this off when Anakin goes to tell Palpatine that Obi-Wan has engaged General Grievous in combat. Palpatine has been manipulating Anakin against the Jedi Council, whom he already has distrust with. He placed Anakin on the council, knowing they wouldn't make him a master, the title he wanted most and thought he deserved. He is also planting dreams of Padme dying in childbirth to make Anakin seek out the dark side. This isn't stated in canon, but it's what I truly believe. Anakin walks up to Palpatine and grudgingly tells him about Obi-Wan engaging Grievous in combat. Palpatine does his whole speech about how the Jedi don't appreciate Anakin and his talents, about how they are afraid of him because they cannot control him. Palpatine offers to help Anakin understand the subtleties of the Force and tells him he knows the nature of the dark side. He goes on to tell Anakin that if he wants to achieve ultimate power and save his wife, then he must join him and learn the dark side. Anakin ignites his lightsaber and accuses Palpatine of being a Sith Lord. Palpatine thinks that Anakin won't strike at him because he needs him to help save Padme, but he is wrong. Anakin stands there, his fists shaking in rage as he realizes Palpatine has lied to him all these years. He's not a friend, a mentor, simply a Sith trying to manipulate him to his side. Anakin knows he's the chosen one and must fulfill his duty. Anakin lunges forward and swipes at Palpatine, who barely gets out of the way. Anakin goes for his head, but Palpatine ducks and pushes him back with the Force. He reaches out with his sleeves and draws two blades and ignites them. He stares down at Anakin and can sense the emotional turmoil in him. He's completely unbalanced and not attuned to the Force. Palpatine's eyes flicker yellow until it's sustained, and he waits for Anakin's attack. Skywalker's conflicted. He looks at Palpatine in anger and feels betrayed. He befriended him ever since he arrived, but he's never been a genuine mentor, friend, or father figure. He's only tried to manipulate him for personal gain. He is the Sith Lord they've been looking for, behind the Clone War, and he'll put an end to his treachery here and now. But the back of his mind is seeded with doubt. Palpatine is the only hope to save his wife from certain death that will consume her. These thoughts zoom through his mind, and he can't fully control himself, leaving him conflicted and vulnerable. He advances forward, and the two clash their blades, sending blows back at tremendous velocities. Two of the most powerful Force users engaging in combat. The clash of lightsabers echoes throughout the room as Anakin looks for an opening, but doesn't see one. He's wary of Palpatine's Sith lightning, and doesn't want to make the same mistake he did with Dooku. He swings wildly at Palpatine, his anger guiding every strike. Palpatine is also fueled with anger, but the difference is, he learned to master his emotions, to use his anger to benefit him years ago. Anakin tries to use his youth to overcome Palpatine in battle. He grabs hold of his sleeve and cracks him in the face with a devastating elbow, and he stumbles back. Anakin thinks he's got the advantage and jumps towards him with his blade overhead, but Palpatine fakes him out and blasts lightning towards Anakin's chest mid-air and sends him tumbling back on the floor, twitching as the current courses through his veins. Sidious walks towards Anakin.
It's a shame you have to die so soon, Skywalker. You could have become so much more.
Palpatine goes to bring his blade down on him, but in a last desperate attempt, Anakin hurls him back with the Force and rushes out of the room. Palpatine stands there, grinning, and prepares for the events that will no doubt ensue. He makes arrangements with his allies amongst the bureaucrats to have them, as well as clone troopers, stationed nearby for when the time is right. Anakin rushes out of Palpatine's office, sweating, and heads over to the Jedi Temple to find Mace Windu. He tells him of the situation and his brief fight with Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord they've been looking for. Windu asks Anakin if he's sure Palpatine is Darth Sidious, who replies, telling him there's no doubt about it. Windu gathers Kit Fisto, Aegon Kolar, and Saisi Tin to confront Palpatine. Anakin tells Windu that he must accompany them to confront Palpatine, and Mace can sense Anakin's resolve this time, his determination to complete his role as the Chosen One, and allows him to accompany them. Before they leave, they inform the rest of the council of the situation, and Yoda proclaims he'll return to Coruscant as fast as possible. They go to Palpatine's office and walk in.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the Republic, you're under arrest, Chancellor.
Palpatine calls for treason and ignites two lightsabers of his own. He unleashes a Sith cry, momentarily deafening the Jedi, as he thrusts his blades into Saisi Tin and Aegon Kolar. He spins and heads towards Anakin, but Mace intercepts the blow and counterattacks with his own. Sidious's movement and power surprised everyone in the room. Palpatine focused on defense, implementing only a few attacks, as he knows he can't beat 3 of them in a direct duel. However, a victory in battle isn't what he's going for. Palpatine allows Windu to push him back with the Force against the distant wall, and uses the Force to press the help button on his desk, and all the surrounding doors open wide immediately, and clones rush in and point their weapons towards the Jedi. The bureaucrats enter and watch as the Jedi have their lightsabers drawn, and the Chancellor's injured on the floor after being attacked. They ask the Jedi what they're doing, and demands they lower their weapons immediately, as more clones flood in around them. Palpatine screams of treason, and the Jedi have no choice but to de-ignite their lightsabers, and the clones put them in handcuffs. They've fallen right into Palpatine's trap. Palpatine holds a Senate meeting with Windu and Fisto on trial, and Anakin is sent to the dungeons below. Palpatine explains to the Senate what has transpired in the previous hour, and presents a cleverly crafted video of the Jedi attacking Palpatine, and at no point in this video does it show him with a red lightsaber. To the unsuspecting Senate, it looks as if the Jedi have attempted to take over the Senate. Shock and horror encompasses the chamber, as they can't believe what they're seeing.
Esteemed members of the Galactic Senate, as you can see, the Jedi attempted a coup, but they failed. And now my resolve has never been stronger. The Jedi are traitors, and now enemies of the Republic. They must be hunted down and defeated. As Chancellor, I will facilitate this message by executing Order 66.
Palpatine looks towards Fisto and Windu, who fall to their knees, sensing the Jedi being wiped out around the galaxy. Palpatine leaves, as cheers roar around the Senate, and he has Windu and Fisto silently executed below. He goes to the Jedi Temple, along with thousands of clone troopers, and carries out the task he dreamed of his entire life, the Purge of the Jedi Order, and makes sure to enjoy this moment as he carves his crimson blade through countless Jedi, Padawans, Knights, and Masters. The Purge is successful, and only one Jedi remains on the planet. He kept Anakin in a cell under the Senate officers, letting him bathe in the dark side he was releasing during the Purge, in a last attempt to bring him to his side. But he has one more plan. He brings Padme in front of Anakin's cell, in handcuffs, and holds his lightsaber next to her.
Padme?
Anakin.
Don't do this, Palpatine. Please!
Still too weak, Anakin. Not strong enough to save your mother, and now your wife as well.
I'm begging you, Palpatine. I'll do anything.
Yes, you will, Anakin. This is going to make you just like me.
He thrusts his lightsaber through Padme's chest as she collapses to the ground.
No!
Anakin bursts through the cell doors with a blast of the Force, and uses telekinesis to steal one of Palpatine's lightsabers and attacks him. He sends a flurry of slashes at Palpatine, who blocks and defends. Palpatine finds an opening and pushes Anakin back with the Force against the wall. He slams his head and is dazed for a second.
You never learn, Anakin. This will be your first lesson, boy. Hate and anger are useful tools, but you must learn to control them, not the other way around.
He begins walking slowly towards Anakin, but through the door behind him jumps Yoda, who swings over Palpatine's head, going for the killing strike mid-air, but is blocked and lands beside Anakin.
Skywalker, your help I will need.
Master Yoda, you survived. Well, not for long.
Palpatine launches himself at Yoda, and the two engage in a fearsome duel. Anakin watches, his vision still blurred, but one thing is certain, he's filled with hatred towards one man, Palpatine. He goes to get up, but ultimately goes to make the same mistake again, fighting whilst his mind is clouded with emotion, which will only lead to his downfall. He looks up to his left to see a blue distilled figure appear beside him. He blinks multiple times as the being comes into vision.
It can't be.
It can be, Anakin. It's been a while.
Master Qui-Gon? How?
Oh, that doesn't matter. What matters now is what lies in front of you. Remember what I taught you all those years ago. Remain in the present, Anakin. The fate of the galaxy resides upon the decision you make here and now. Yoda needs your help. Without it, he cannot defeat Palpatine alone. But you must control your mind. Accept the conflict within you, but don't let it consume you. Recognize that. Only once you find balance can you unlock your true potential.
Yes, Master.
Anakin takes a deep breath and calms himself. Now's not the time to get emotional. He must stay focused.
May the Force be with you, Anakin.
Qui-Gon disappears and Anakin rushes in to assist the Grand Master. He slashes at Palpatine, who manages to block and increases the distance between them.
So the Chosen One has come to fulfill his destiny. We'll see about that.
He cracks lightning at the two Jedi, who drop their blades and catch it with their hands. Palpatine doubles down, focusing all his force on the lightning as Yoda and Anakin stumble backwards. But Anakin senses an opening. Palpatine is too focused on the Jedi and is ignoring his surroundings. Anakin reaches out with his right hand and uses the Force to thrust Palpatine's saber across the room and into his abdomen. He disengages the lightning and stumbles back in pain. Yoda somersaults across the room, reignites his lightsaber, and removes Palpatine's hands from his wrists. The Sith Lord falls to his knees, and Anakin walks up to him.
Anakin, please, no, don't kill me.
But Anakin raises his blade above his head, ready to strike, but Yoda stops him.
Skywalker, no. Defeated and unarmed, Palpatine is. To kill him, the Jedi way, it is not.
Anakin disengages his blade and bashes Palpatine with the hilt, rendering him unconscious. Anakin and Yoda have some work to do. The Jedi have been declared as enemies of the Republic, and they've captured the Chancellor. They have to decide how to move forward. But first, Anakin tells Yoda he must take Padme to the hospital, as there's a chance they can save his children. Yoda's eyes momentarily go wide, but then composes himself.
Go you must, Skywalker.
And Anakin does this. He drops Padme off at one of the most prestigious hospitals next to the Senate chamber and leaves Padme in care of the droids. He knows in his soul all hope of saving her is lost, but even if there's a slight chance his child can survive, he must take it. In the meantime, Yoda meets with Bail Organa and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who discuss what to do next. He fills them in on the events which have just transpired, and says they must act quickly if they're to bring the Senate back to their side. Bail knows exactly how to do this. He sends a message to the delegation of 2,000 and details Palpatine's lies, how he was a Sith Lord that played both sides of the war from the very beginning. He says that he has no proof, but if they push a vote in the Senate, they can gain access to the office records to reveal the truth. This is exactly what they do in the Senate meeting later that day. When Palpatine doesn't show up, Bail releases his pod and addresses the Senate. He proclaims that Palpatine is evil and an enemy to the Republic. He details everything Yoda told him, from his involvement in creating the clone army, the roots of the separatist movement, and his cahoots with Count Dooku and General Grievous, all in an attempt to bring about galactic chaos that would allow for his personal rise to Emperor of the Galaxy. He puts in a notion that a vote takes place to allow access to search his office quarters for proof of what he says. The vote goes forward, and Organa has the delegation of 2,000 on his side, but has also swayed the majority of the Senate, which results in the vote passing. The next day, they gather the proof they need and present it in front of the Senate. The full video recording shows Sidious with a red lightsaber killing the Jedi, but also countless encrypted communications between Dooku, Grievous, and other separatist leaders. This was proof Palpatine was behind the war from the beginning, and as a result, was removed from office due to his violation of the Republic Constitution. As a result, all of his acts as Chancellor, constitutional amendments, as well as the recent Order 66 became undone, and the clones stopped hunting the Jedi around the galaxy. The bureaucrats temporarily take over the Senate, whilst Yoda and Obi-Wan present Palpatine to them, who's sentenced to life in prison. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Anakin looked upon the medical droids, fearful and hopeless, as they worked on Padme's body. But everything changed when they pulled out two babies, a boy and a girl. They handed them to Anakin, who has tears running down his face. He and Padme had talked about names and called out to Luke and Leia as he hugs them in his arms. Yoda and Obi-Wan send out a message to all surviving Jedi around the galaxy, detailing the end of the war with Darth Sidious's defeat and that it's safe to return to Coruscant. However, not many returned, as most have been defeated by the clones. Council members Coleman Kaj and Oppo Rancisis return and they meet with Yoda, Obi-Wan and Anakin in the council chambers. They meet to discuss how to move forward. The Order's numbers have diminished to just under 100. Yoda goes to begin, but stops as he turns around to see the Force ghost of Qui-Gon walk in.
A long time. My old friend, it has been.
Master Qui-Gon?
It's good to see you all. I'm very proud of the choices you have made. Anakin, you fulfilled your duty as the Chosen One. The Sith couldn't have been defeated without you. But your role is not finished, and you will be pivotal in the future of the Jedi Order.
What do you mean, Qui-Gon?
Our Order is dogmatic, narrow-minded, and arrogant. These fears allowed the Sith to rise from the shadows and nearly destroy everything we fought so hard to protect. What would the Jedi of old think of us? If we are to prevent the Sith from rising again, the Jedi must change their ways. We allowed the Force to flow through us, but closed ourselves off to everything else. That's not balance. It's obsession. We must allow everyone to find their own path in the Force, free from nonsense that have limited the Jedi for 1,000 years. But there is one who showed us the way. Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One. He found balance when he confronted the most evil of all, and the Force rewarded him with victory. Learn from him, and open your hearts to all.
Qui-Gon leaves the room stunned, and he can tell they're having a hard time grasping it, but Yoda puts his ego aside.
Right, you are Qui-Gon. Unknowingly corrupt, I have become. Dogmatic and limiting are the constraints set on the Jedi I have. But change our ways, I must.
Very good, Master Yoda, and stand by your side, I will.
They continue to discuss how to move forward and change the entire principles of the Jedi Order. They rebuilt from the ground up, changed their philosophy, teaching methods, and represent the Jedi Order of the past. Anakin is pivotal in this journey, as he symbolizes balance in the Force, with his baby children, Luke and Leia. He is living proof that no matter how dire the situation can become, you can learn to use and deal with the emotions associated with attachments. And so Jedi can now have attachments, form bonds with each other, and have families of their own. In the years following Order 66, the Order flourished, with their new philosophies proving effective in rebuilding the galaxy and serving the people of it. Luke and Leia's Force abilities continue to develop, and Anakin knows they will grow into powerful and respectable Jedi in the future. If you enjoyed this video, you have to watch What If Thrawn joined the Republic, or What If Anakin Skywalker became the Emperor. Consider becoming a member of the channel to see thumbnails and other art before anyone else. Please leave your comments on the video, I would love to hear your feedback, and as always, may the Force be with you.